What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to review Mortal Kombat. So this is going to go into spoilers. I'll try to make a clear distinction of when we get there, but I want to talk about the pros, the cons of this movie. I know this video is going up a little bit after some of the other Mortal Kombat videos that you may have already seen, so maybe you know kind of where I stand on it, or maybe you don't know. I talked about the biggest problems with this movie, the biggest problem, however I decided to go with it, maybe yesterday, maybe the day before, and I actually do like this movie. So that's the first thing I'll say in this review is I actually quite enjoyed Mortal Kombat. It's interesting. It's tough because there are a lot of issues with this movie. If you see online, I've seen it even in my own poll when I asked people, are they going to watch it? I've seen people say, like, the movie is terrible, like, they hate it. I think I'd understand if people say they don't like the movie because there's a lot that if you focus on it, and I don't think it's wrong to focus on it. I think you could, that could steer you the wrong way, and you can end up saying that you don't like the movie. And again, that's completely fine. I'd say overall, I definitely enjoyed my time, and I think it did what it needed to do for the franchise. It's a little weird because I've talked about Godzilla versus Kong and how I didn't like that movie, but yet again, the whole monsters fighting each other, like if that's why you go, if that's your sole reason, which probably it is, right, because of the name, then you may have really enjoyed it. You may have said, yeah, there's a lot of bad stuff, but overall, I look at the positives. I don't do that for Godzilla versus Kong, but I kind of do that for Mortal Kombat, where the story is just really getting to them fighting each other. That's really it. There is a very loose story throughout this entire thing, but pretty much the movie decides when it wants to get people to fight each other. That's literally the entire point. Sometimes and this is not even that spoiler-ish, they use Raiden to basically set up matches. Like, towards the end of the movie, they're like, all right, we need to do 1v1s now. Like, we can't do it all together. We've had the showing of all the bad guys versus all the good guys, but then we still get split up and we still fight 1v1, or sometimes it's 2v1. But then now, Raiden, you're going to need to transport us, very awkwardly, by the way, to our own 1v1 matches in which we're going to fight. So let's talk about the positives here. The movie's fighting is phenomenal. I really do like it. The special effects, I think, probably 95 to 90, like I think 95% or higher percent of the time really works. Like, is it kind of cheesy in a way? Yeah, but they do like the martial arts and stuff like that. It's really great. The sword fighting, I mean, throughout the entire movie, there's some downtime, which is really not, is probably easily the worst part of the movie. But when they're fighting each other, even if it's animated, I think they do, honestly, a terrific job. And again, that's to me the point. Like, I wanted to see that. I wanted to see what kind of fighting they would do and what characters they would use, both characters that we've seen, in the previews and in all this stuff, and then if they throw in any new people. Now, I thought they'd actually, and this kind of goes into spoilers here, I thought they'd actually do a Mortal Kombat. That's not what happens. Pretty much, it's taking the angle of we're trying to stop, the bad guys basically trying to stop all the good guys from participating in a tournament, and by doing that, they basically all die, and then there can't be a tournament because, there's really no participants on the opposing end. So, when I was talking about cameos and characters that, they could maybe show us a little bit of and then use down the line, they don't really do that. Now, they do set it up, obviously, including with Sub-Zero, where you can obviously get things, down the line with different versions of characters and stuff, but they don't do that. Like, the characters you see in this movie are the characters you get, which is fine, I would say. The good guys, okay, it's not a good cast. I mean, I actually, like, a lot of people are bagging on Sonya. I actually kind of like her. I don't think she's all that bad. I think she, early on, is definitely the knowledge person, right? She's kind of like telling us, she's getting everybody up to date on, okay, here's how this works, like this has happened before, and you're chosen, and it's like a tournament. It's literally Mortal Kombat. So she's kind of like the encyclopedia, which I think is fine. I think everybody, for the most part, acting-wise, did a really solid job. I said going in that I wasn't a fan of like how Raiden looked or like anything that I've seen about Raiden going in. I actually think he was one of the better characters in the movie. Kano is phenomenal. So going with like positives, I mean he is the comedic relief, and one of the biggest issues of this movie is the pacing, is the cuts and the edits. I think I tweeted out like, oh my dear God, like that's a big problem, but I overall love the movie, and that is the response I got back over on Twitter where it's like, yeah, the movie, again, like things just happen. There are some really weird cuts and like, I don't know, again, I think they knew what they wanted to get to. Like they had a storyboard and they had, again, like all the fights circled and they're like, okay, how exactly though do we get them there, or what's in between? And they said, we really don't have anything. We could do like a dinner scene, or we could do where they train like 8 times and just keep training like over and over. We could do kind of repeat scenes. Oh, Sonya eventually literally doesn't, because she's useless because she doesn't have, you know, the chosen mark. So we literally have to, you have to put her on the bench basically for a while. So it's like they didn't exactly know what to do, but any downtime in this movie is not a good part of the film. They try to do comedy sometimes, and I would say sometimes it works, and I think with Kano is the best times that it works. He's very funny. He makes a lot of pop culture references, Gandalf, Harry Potter, stuff like that. He's phenomenal. He's really, really good in it. Cole Young, I know I saw a lot of people going after him. I don't despise him. I don't like him. Like, I don't think he's a good lead whatsoever. But I feel like in the way that they did this movie, he was the lead. Like, he's the most important, I guess, character. But not really. Like they make him out to be the most important character, and it's like he needs to find like his hidden power basically, or like they're screwed. But in reality, like he does, but his power is actually very lame, I would say, comparatively to everybody else. It's mainly a group effort movie where like everybody kind of gets to shine in their own times. And then again, I guess going more towards the negatives, fighting is amazing. Okay, I really like the fighting. But when they do get to their own individual 1v1 matches towards the end, okay, they go way too fast. I mean, I think the Sonya Kano one went by like that was a really decent. It was like a 2-minute, maybe 2.5 minute thing, maybe even longer, where they're fighting each other in the house. I like that. It seemed like a good amount of time where the dynamic went back and forth of like who's winning and stuff. Some of the, like Jax's fight was literally the preview that we saw. That was his I mean, because that scene was shown the day before the movie came out. That was it. It lasted probably 35 seconds. It was clear they maybe just didn't want to do anything with that. Even with like Melina, like she cool looking, but I mean, they literally did nothing with her character. I actually really liked their outfits, except for Cole. Like when he got his like golden armor, like it absorbs energy or whatever the heck that was. I did not like that whatsoever, but for the most part, their costumes were insanely good, I would say. People went after Scorpion or even like Sub-Zero's suits. I love them. I actually thought they were pretty. I mean, that's just my opinion. I thought they were pretty darn solid. Even somebody like Sonya or Jax were fine. Liu Kang, characters like that, they were like there. They weren't really good. They weren't really like atrocious. You had Shang Tsung, who I think is I actually really like the actor. I believe he's been in the Batman movies before, like The Dark Knight. He does, I think, a really, really solid job. But one character I want to focus on is Kabal. I mean, Jesus Christ, his character nailed it. It visually looked amazing. His powers, I feel like they just kind of went all in, where some of these characters, I think like Scorpion and Sub-Zero, their fight, they really tried to do as many fan servicey things as possible. They did it with a couple other characters as well throughout the movie, right? If they have a really special move or a move that you really know that they do in the games, they tried, I would say, to put all of them, as many as they possibly could, in the movie. Mainly from the more like super powered kind of characters, they really tried to put that in there. But even like a character like Kabal, who I really like, I actually really like playing as him, he was phenomenal. I liked his voice, I liked his kind of suit design, I liked his abilities. Again, they really used quite a bit on him. So, as I've jumped around in this video, like I really have had nothing, there's really been no point A to point B to point C. I've kind of jumped around in this video. That's kind of like how the movie did, okay? The movie, again, has a premise, it has a start, it has a beginning, middle, of an end. It really has a beginning and an end, I would say. And the middle, again, is training, finding their inner power. Then they kind of get stopped because the bad guys are like, okay, we need to stop you. Why? We need to stop you. That's really it. Then Raiden's like, okay, shield, and let's go back to training. And then it's like, okay, shield broken, and then attack, and then all the good guys lose, bad guys win, and then they regroup, kind of in like the in-between world, and then they set up their 1v1 Mortal Kombat matches in which all the good guys win. So it's very straightforward in that. I mean, it's kind of odd to say that, right? Because it's not actually straightforward whatsoever. It's all over the place. But I think what they need, and I saw this again, people said this on Twitter, they need a new team in terms of who decides how one thing leads to the other. Now, I don't know if that's a director or whatever. This is very clear there is care. Like, they do care about the movie. It is cheesy in a lot of ways, but not, it's not like a D-tier movie. They're not, like, nobody's acting. If anybody is acting bad, like poorly acted, they're not doing it on purpose. They're not meant to be, the whole thing's not meant to be a joke. Like, they are taking themselves seriously in that universe. And so I do think there is care in terms of how they look, in terms of the fighting. I mean, definitely whoever they brought in to help with, like, that entire thing, they did a phenomenal job. But I just think, the in-between time, trying to figure out how you space a movie like this out, it was not done well. You could argue that it's hard to do in general because, I mean, in the game, there's a cutscene, you fight. Cutscene, fight, and sometimes you fight, and then the next person just kind of walks into the arena, and you're like, okay, well, you're next to fight. You can't exactly do that in a movie. One of the only ways of doing that is kind of how the movie again did it, where it's like, okay, Raiden, you can put people anywhere, right? And he's like, yes, I can. It's like, okay, well, I choose this person to fight, just zap them and zap me in the same area. Like, they won't question how they got there, I won't question how I got there, and we'll just fight. And like, it's really the only way you probably could do it, other than them just walking into each other, like on the street, they just pass each other and then they fight each other. But I would say I know I called out a lot of stuff. I liked it, though. Like, I loved the fighting. Overall, I had a lot of fun with the movie. I don't know if I'd watch it again. I mean, maybe I'll watch it again. I do want more. I do want a sequel. I think that there is, even if they did set up more, but even if they didn't set up anything, obviously because of Mortal Kombat, there's so much that you could eventually do. So I would gladly take more. This is really just pacing and editing issues, and I would say this movie would be even better. Okay, so let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? What were some of the pros and cons? Let me know in the comments. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. Leave this video a like if you did like it. If you disliked it, that's totally fine. Leave the dislike. Helps the engagement either way. Thank you for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.